everyone and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I plan on reading in May. This TBR is definitely looking a bit ambitious and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been reading a lot recently, so we'll see how this one goes, but I have a few books on here that I need to read and then a few books I would like to get to if I can. Something that is gonna help me though is that I do have a week off at the end of May. We have a half-term holiday, so I should be able to get quite a few books read during that time off, and I will say I am looking forward to it. Without further ado though, I am gonna dive into the books because I do have quite a few here to talk about and I don't want to keep you guys for too long. The first book I plan on reading in May is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling, and this is a very exciting one because it's actually the first book that we're going to be reading as part of the A World of Words book club. If you guys missed the announcement video, I have decided to host my own book club. As I said, it's called A World of Words and I'm just so excited for it. It has kicked off on the 1st of May and this is the book that I've chosen for us to read first. If you guys would like to join the book club, I will leave a link to it down below. It's completely free. I'm going to run it through an app called Fable that you can either download on your phone or visit through the web browser, and it has different sections for each chapter so that when you finish a chapter you can go there, see what people thought of it and include your own spoiler-filled thoughts as well, which I'm just so excited for. I feel like it's going to be a very fun time and I'm hoping that I love this one as it's the first book club pick. In this one we follow our main character Elwyn, who is a princess, and on the day of her birth she was actually gifted dragon eggs that were believed to be dormant or in fact dead. However, when they are given to the princess, they awaken and her dragons hatch and they immediately form a very close bond to the princess, and because of this the king actually becomes quite jealous. He believes that this bond is unhealthy and so he locks the princess away from her dragons until a daring rescue saved Elwyn from the king's clutches. However, the only thing was her dragons were left behind, and so throughout her life she has been setting up her own queendom with the intention of getting her dragons back and hopefully ruling as well. As her plans go into motion, she realizes that she will do whatever it takes to get to her dragons and get them back, even if that means teaming up with Caden, who is the commander of Varaveth. He is the most dangerous man in all the kingdom and also her father's sworn enemy. And then it just says here, the pull between Elwyn and Caden becomes impossible to resist even when trusting each other seems both reckless and essential. But with the threat of war looming over them, the imminent heist to rescue Elwyn's dragons will be their most dangerous adventure yet. I just thought this one sounded so amazing. I had the indie published version downloaded on my Kindle. However, it has recently been traditionally published, which is why we now have this gorgeous edition. It's a book about a badass female main character who will sacrifice everything in order to get back what is hers. And we have dragons in here, guys, so it's sure to be a good time. It's never too late to join the book club, so if you guys would want to join, as I said, the link will be in the description below. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined so far. I can't wait to read this one and discuss it with you. I will be reading it relatively soon. I do have one or two books I'm going to mention that I'm currently in the middle of that I need to finish first, but I can't wait to get to this one. I feel like it's going to be such a good time, and I will be posting a spoiler-filled vlog at the end of the month with my thoughts on this one as well. One of the books that I'm currently reading is Ruin by John Gwynne. I started this one at the end of April. It is now May the 4th at the time that I'm filming this, so I'm definitely late in getting this up to you guys, which I apologise for, but happy Star Wars Day, by the way. I didn't manage to get too far into this one. I'm currently up to page 222, so I'm not doing too badly, but this book is over 700 pages, and the live show for this one, I believe it's going to be next weekend. I haven't actually checked, but I'm of course trying to finish it before then because if you guys don't know, I'm reading this one as part of another book club, which is the Catch Up Book Club hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books here on YouTube, and that is a book club all about tackling epic high fantasy series that have been out for quite a while. And for this round we are tackling the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne, and Ruin is actually the third book out of 4. I can't believe we are almost done with this series. It is honestly just insane. The first two were fantastic. This one is almost even more enjoyable, if I do dare to say so. I feel like I have been enjoying this one from page 1, whereas with the other two it's taken me quite a while to get into it. So hopefully I do love this one. The name kind of terrifies me though, and from what I've seen of the reviews, there's a reason that it's called Ruin, and that is because this book is going to ruin us, which Yeah, don't know how I feel about that, but I'm along for the ride, so we're gonna see how it goes. I actually can't tell you too much about this one because it is the third book in an epic high fantasy series. The story and the world is extremely complicated, but I'll do my best to give you guys a kind of brief summary. In this series, we follow two champions. We have the Black Sun and the Bright Star. Both of those were prophesied to fight in a god war, and that war was going to determine the fate of the Earth. The Banished Lands where we are set has a very violent past where humans and giants used to fight each other constantly. They have been warring for centuries, however, the giant clans actually scattered and kind of died down and kept quiet. Recently though, it seems as if the giants have been stirring. There have been a lot of signs that relate to the prophecy with the Black Sun and the Bright Star that is quite concerning. And an example of those are stones weeping blood and also giant worms emerging from the darkness. Those who can still read the signs see a danger far bigger than they could have imagined, and that is that sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. And this is where the two prophesized humans come in. As I said, we have the Black Sun and the Bright Star. The Black Sun is meant to bring destruction to this land and the Bright Star is meant to save it. And so throughout the first book, we're establishing who might be the Black Sun and the Bright Star and the support system that they build as part of their mission, I guess, in this world. I feel like that was a pretty rubbish synopsis and I do apologise for it, but it's a multi-POV epic high fantasy. There's a lot going on, it's very complicated, and even now I still have to refer back to the character lists at the front of these books in order to know who I'm following and who they are following in the book as well, because so much has happened. We have had so many people change allegiances, so I will say it does take a bit of brain power. However, once you kind of get back into the swing of reading these, you do fall back into the world, and I absolutely love the characters in here. Some are so annoying and grating and horrible, but it just proves how good of a writer John Gwynne is because he just makes me feel all the emotions, and then you have other characters who you love deeply and are so scared that something bad is going to happen to them. So these books are a wild ride. They are definitely emotional roller coasters. Can't believe I'm putting myself through this one, but I need to know what happens in order to get to the fourth book. So as I said, I have started this one. It will be getting read in this first week of May, hopefully, and I'll give you guys my thoughts at some point once I have read it. The next two books I'm going to show you are both part of a readathon that I'm completing this year, which is the Buzzword Readathon. Now, this is a readathon that is hosted by Kayla over at Books and Lala, and usually you read 12 books that fulfill 12 prompts. However, this year she has a title prompt for each month, which means you will be reading 12 books, as well as a cover prompt, which means you will actually be reading 24 books. Now, you can double up on prompts. I have been doing so in the past. However, this month I do have two separate books that I'm going to read to fulfill the challenges. The first book I'm going to read is Shatter Me by Sahara Mafi, and this fulfills the cover prompt, which is to read a book with an eye on the cover. I'm sure you've all seen these covers. All of them have this eye in the cover. I think it's so striking. I absolutely love this one. Tom actually got me these for my birthday quite a few years ago now. I have read this one, but I would like to continue on with the rest of the books in the series, so I decided to give it a go this time round. Honestly, I can't remember too much about this one. All I remember is that it's a kind of dystopian novel where no one is allowed to touch our main character. I can't remember if her touch kills them, but I feel like it was something like that. So I am going to read the synopsis. It says, "I have a gift, I'm more than human, my touch is power, I will fight back. A fragile teenage girl is held captive, locked in a cell by the re-establishment, a harsh dictatorship in charge of a crumbling world. But Juliet is no ordinary teenager. One touch from her can kill. The re-establishment wants to use her as a weapon, but Juliet has other plans. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovered the strength to fight back, and to find a future with the one person she thought she'd lost forever." So that doesn't give too much away. I remember really enjoying this one though and flying through it, so I'm hoping that that will be the case this time around as well. I am also planning on filming a spoiler-filled vlog for the first few books in the series, so if that's something that you would like to see, please let me know down below. I've seen a couple of people do it. Obviously I haven't been able to watch those yet because I was planning on reading them, so I thought it would be fun to do my own version, give you guys my thoughts on them as I'm reading them, because it is a very beloved series. It's one that's been out for years, and I am honestly embarrassed to say that I haven't completed it yet. And then the second book that I'm going to be reading as part of Buzzwordathon for this month is To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. The title prompt for this one, I believe, was to read a book with 2 in the title, and believe it or not, this was the only book that I had that fulfilled that prompt. Not gonna lie guys, I am a little bit hesitant diving into this one because I have not seen the best reviews surrounding it, but I'm gonna try and go in with an open mind. I don't really want to know too much about it before diving in. It's a beautiful edition that I'm really hoping I'm gonna love, and so I'm trying not to let other people's opinions cloud my judgment here. Now this definitely sounds like my type of thing. We do have ancient magic in here, secrets, gods, and a community that want to overthrow an empire, so it's definitely sounding like it's going to be right up my street. We have two main characters, Galena and Sera, and they are bound to brutal deities. The sisters have been raised as living weapons throughout their whole lives, and as I said, they do want to overthrow the empire. With their mother gone and the country on the brink of war, it falls to the sisters to take the helm of the rebellion and end the cruel reign of a royal family possessed by destructive gods. Because when the ruling Illyria invade, they conquer with fire and blood, and when they clash, common folk burn. That honestly intrigues me enough to want to pick up the book, but there is more to the synopsis. Apparently one of our main characters reunites with an estranged lover, another one infiltrates the palace, and ultimately at the end they need to make a choice to either work together to expose the lies of the empire or bring it all down. So it does sound really interesting. I am hoping that I do love it. As I said, it's a beautiful edition, so I would love to keep it. And Elizabeth May is also the writer of the Falconer series, I believe it's called. It's a series that I've been interested in for a while now, and I would like to get to that one as well. I believe she has recently re-released those as well to make them kind of more spicy, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna tackle this one first, see if I get on with it or not, see what I think, and go from there, because as I said, it does sound like something I should enjoy, but I'm not sure why people are giving it lower reviews. So I'm diving in with an open mind, but I'm definitely a bit more hesitant. The next book I'm going to be reading in May is another one that I have actually started. I started this one on the 1st of May, and that one is Kingsbane by Claire Legrand. This is the second book in the Imperium trilogy, and I read Furyborn, I want to say 2 months ago. I honestly can't remember exactly when, but it was a reread for me and I really enjoyed it. Now for some reason I have never carried on with that series. I first read it back in 2018, I want to say. Gave it 5 stars, and yeah, never read the second and third books, and so I really want to make that right this year and prioritise them and get this trilogy finished, which is why I've decided to dive into the second book. Now I have been listening to this one on audio. I got it through my library, and I don't know if I'm going to stick to listening to it, but I don't have any other audiobook options available for me this month. None of the other books on my TBRs have audiobooks that I can access, so I may stick to consuming it via audio. We shall see. I always need an audiobook on the go, so the fact that this does have one is obviously helpful. The only thing is that we have a dual perspective and dual timeline in here, which makes it a bit more complicated and harder to keep track of at some points. So that is where I tend to lose track sometimes. I forget that the perspectives have switched, and it takes me a while to get back into the story, whereas obviously reading it, I'm aware of whose chapter it is and what's going on, but it's not a massive issue. I can follow along, and I have done so far. I'm not actually all that far into it. I've read 88 pages, so I haven't made a dent. But as I said, in this one, we are following our two main characters across 2 different timelines. We have Queen Riel and we have Eliana. This is another book that involves a prophecy, which you guys know that I love, but this world was once ruled by angels. Now, angels aren't actually what you would consider them to be in this day and age. They are manipulative, they're very powerful and extremely controlling and violent, and so the humans did manage to banish them away, and they have been kept separate from them ever since. Now this book opens with us following Riel. There is a pretty gruesome scene involving an animal, which I will give warnings for in a minute, but during the scene assassins are trying to kill her best friend, and she decides that she's going to save him, and by doing so she exposes the fact that she has some different magical abilities and is possibly one of 2 prophesized queens. In this prophecy we have a Queen of Light who is going to bring light and prosperity to the world, and we have a Queen of Blood who is destined to destroy it. Now of course Riel believes that she is the Sun Queen, and she is put through some grueling trials to prove herself to be loyal to the royal family and also to be the Sun Queen that was prophesied. If she fails, she will be executed or will die in the trials if she doesn't have the ability to overcome them and use her magic to save herself, and so she's going from being pretty much a nobody to the centre of attention overnight. Alongside that, we also follow another character called Eliana, and for Eliana, Queen Riel is just a fairy tale. She lived over 1,000 years ago and essentially has no real relevance to the world that Eliana is living in. Eliana is a very different character though. She's actually a bounty hunter for the Emperor. She is one of the cruelest people there actually. She spends her life handing in rebels to be executed, and she believes herself untouchable because of this. However, one night Eliana's mother goes missing, and to find her, Eliana finds herself partnering up with a rebel captain and discovers that the evil at the center of the Empire's heart is even worse than anything she could have ever imagined. As Riel and Eliana fight in a cosmic war that spans millennia, their stories intersect, and the shocking connections between the two actually are going to determine the fate of the world. It definitely sounds complicated. This is another one where you need to power on through the first book in order to get into the flow of the story and the writing style and get attached to these characters. I will say that I was more interested in Riel's perspective in that first book because she's the one going through all these different trials, but Eliana's perspective is just so dark. It's very bleak and disturbing, and it's a bit hopeless, to be honest. That is until, of course, she joins the rebel cause and sees that her life has been moulded by the Emperor and the Empire because he wants everyone to stay in their place, to follow orders, and to do as he says, basically. And so now we are seeing Eliana come into herself a lot more and standing up for what is right, and so I'm definitely liking her perspective a lot more now. But I will say, and I did mention this briefly, there is a scene in the first book that involves a horse. There is a horse race. Our main character is trying to save her friend, and during this, her magic does hurt the animal, and it's very brutal. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you plan on reading it, I would maybe skip a bit of that chapter. That's what I did this time because I'd obviously read it before. I knew it was coming and I wasn't comfortable reading it, so I did have to skip ahead just to avoid that. I feel like it wasn't really necessary, but it's there, so I did just want to give you guys a heads up. After that, there is nothing that should be too concerning in a fantasy novel, but full transparency, there is an animal that gets hurt very badly. And then the last book I plan on reading in May is A Feather So Black by Lyra Celine. This is a beautiful book, guys. Look at this. I am honestly obsessed with it. All I remember about this one is that it's a Swan Lake retelling, and I don't really want to know much more. Now, the reason that it's on my TBR for this month is that Fairy Loot have just revealed that the second book is coming out pretty soon, and I want to know whether or not to buy the Fairy Loot exclusive edition. All I'm going to read you here is the little snippet because I feel like it sums it up well, and honestly I don't really want to know too much. I tend to enjoy these books when I go into them without any real expectations. I feel like that is why I'm hesitant to read To Cage a God, because I've heard such bad reviews, and that's definitely tainted my view of the book, whereas with this I haven't seen or heard anything, and I don't really want to spoil myself on what the story is about. But it just says here, A Feather So Black is a sizzling fantasy romance set in a world of perilous magic and moonlit forests. Spinning a seductive tale of a changeling princess, her cursed sister, and the dangerous Fey Lord she must defeat to save her family. See, that has me sold. I honestly cannot wait for this. The artwork as well is gorgeous, and I'm just hoping that I'm gonna have a good time with this one. It is a pretty big book though. I have a lot of chunky books on this TBR, but I feel like it's gonna be a nice break from the heavier fantasies that I have been reading. I feel like this is going to be a more whimsical and magical story that I can hopefully fly through. And as I said, hopefully this will give me an idea if I want to continue on with the series or not, and whether I would like the Fairy Loot edition to match this one, which I probably will if I do enjoy it. So there we have it, guys. These are the books that I plan on reading in May. As I said, a lot of chunky books on there. I feel like I'm gonna have to read quite a bit this month to get through them, but I'm hoping I can manage it, especially as I have a week off at the end of the month like I mentioned. I have been struggling to read during the week at the minute just because I'm so busy with work. I have a parents' evening this week as well, so I'm not gonna get home until after 7. So yeah, that's just the type of thing that I'm dealing with at the minute. But even so, I'm really excited for these books. I hope I'm gonna love each and every single one. And honestly, I feel like this is a pretty good looking TBR. If you have made it this far through into the video and would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and leave me an eye as the emoji of the video down in the comments. I'm obviously drawn to the cover of Shatter Me, which has a big old eye in the middle. It's a prompt for Buzzwordathon, and I feel like it will just look funny to have a bunch of eyes in the comments. So if you are still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Please don't forget to join the book club as well. I will have the link listed down below that will take you to the book club page on Fable. It's going to be such a fun time. I'm going to be posting spoiler-filled reading vlogs for each of the books, and of course I will be chatting on Fable with you guys as well, so please go ahead and do that if you haven't already. I hope to see you guys pop up there, but for now I am going to close off this video here. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!